How's it? Welcome back. So I had a comment come in just now wanting me to break down the different stages of sleep past the hypnagogic state, which happens to be stage 1. So here's a quick explanation of it. And now personally, I like the 5-stage breakdown of sleep the best, where there is another common way of looking at it where they break it up into essentially 2 different stages. You have REM and non-REM sleep, or NREM. However, personally, I like the 5-stage breakdown of it way better, especially if you're looking, or if you're interested in like the different types of dream experiences you can have in the different stages of sleep. You know, if that's the case, then the 5-stage breakdown of it is like way better in every way possible. And then the way they dictate which stage of sleep you're in is by dominant brainwaves. So like if you're in a sleep lab, they had you hooked up to 2 EEGs, they can tell what stage of sleep you're in just by like looking at the readings on the graph. So first up, we have stage 1, which is the hypnagogic state. Essentially, that's a state where mental thoughts and images get a lot more visual. One of the hallmarks of this state is that if somebody was to wake you up when you were in stage 1, like in the lab or whatever, the person who was sleeping typically would be reporting back that, you know, shit, why'd you bother me? I was almost asleep, but they don't feel like they were actually asleep yet. Although they probably weren't lucidly or consciously aware at that point. They were essentially just like, you know, lost in the thoughts in their head. But that's a good sign of stage 1. The dominant brainwaves there are alpha. And then you have stage 2, which is still considered light sleep. The dominant brainwaves there are theta. And one of the kind of differences there, though, is that somebody, if you were in the lab and somebody woke you up when you were in stage 2, you probably would feel like you were sleeping at least for a little while. Although you'll still probably be like, you know, why the hell did you wake me up? I was finally falling asleep, right? Also, and there is some kind of debate here, like whether hypnagogic imagery or what kind of dream experience you're having in stage 2. I've seen some people say that it's basically dreamless. Although personally for me, I've always kind of felt like, you know, there is some kind of hypnagogic stuff going on there. Plus, if you just look at hypnagogia, you type it in Google and you want to see what brainwaves are dominant in the hypnagogic state. You know, if you look at Google, it says hypnagogia is kind of bouncing between alpha and theta. So, you know, kind of a toss-up there as to whether there is an experience to be had in stage 2 or not. And then you have stage 3, 4, which is what they consider deep sleep. It has the slowest brainwaves there. The dominant brainwave is delta. And 3, 4 are kind of like hooked up together. But they kind of just count them as the same thing, where like both are delta, but, you know, 4 is slower than 3, but they're both considered delta for whatever reason. They used to call this dreamless sleep, although there's been a lot of studies and stuff done, you know, since whenever that saying first came out, that they do think people do have experiences in stage 3, 4. So there is a dream of some sort that's going on, just that recall is really, really hard. So people typically can't recall what kind of experiences they were having. And then I've also heard it said that if you're talking about sleep yoga, like Tibetan sleep yoga, where you have dream yoga, which is like the lucid dreaming stuff, and then the level above that is sleep yoga. And so I've heard some people say that the sleep yoga experiences of like pure consciousness and like blank nothingness and all that takes place in 3, 4. That's a state I've been trying to get to for a long time. I've kind of brushed up against it, but I could never quite tell if I really had it or not. And then at least in some of the things that I've heard about, especially like years ago when I was first kind of learning about this, like particularly I think this guy Andrew Holacek, who was like one of the first authors I really got into when I was really starting to explore this space. He's always said that if you're in sleep yoga and you're awake in this 3, 4 stage lucidly aware, he's like, it's a pretty ineffable experience that you would know if you were there. And the fact that I've had experiences that seemed like I was close to it, but I didn't totally know if I was there or not, kind of puts me in the camp of, I don't think I was there, but you know, who knows. Anyway, after the stage 3, 4 deep sleep stuff, then you hit REM. And we all know what REM is, right? That's where classic dreams take place, where it's basically like this waking reality, except for, you know, in your head and you're asleep and dreaming. So that's a quick breakdown of it. Hope that helped. Welcome to the channel too, because apparently you just stumbled across my channel recently. Thanks for the comment. And until the next video, keep your lucid dreaming practice or your sleeping practice legit.